Hello everybody, my name is Raccoon Bro VA and welcome back to another reaction video. Now, as we all know, Death Battle is not the only versus project on the block. Many have come and gone, many still hanging around, but one that's recently dropped by and has skyrocketed in popularity is a little channel called Smash Bracket that aims to have a tournament-style breakdown of every character in Smash Bros. To see who, based on their canonic power levels, would win in a tournament-style showdown to see the very top, the best of the best. It's probably going to be Kirby, but it's the journey to that's very interesting. It's a very cool concept and presented in a very interesting way, looking at these characters in different perspectives that most of us have never really considered before, which I find to be the most interesting part. And the animation's also really cool too. So I figured this would be a fun little detour for other versus content to check out. Little deviation from Death Battle, considering it's on a break right now, and this is also I bet it'll be a fun journey to just, go along and see what happens. And today we've got the Ice Climbers versus the Duck Hunt Trio, a retro Nintendo brawl, and it's going to be a 2v3 when you think about it, so I'm very curious to see how this gets presented, especially considering one of them is beyond the fourth wall, essentially. So let's get into the mayhem.
What would happen if two icons of retro Nintendo gaming went toe-to-toe in a match to determine who would come out on top? I'm Ink, and this is Smash Bracket, a show dedicated to solving that exact question. If each and every playable character from the Super Smash Bros. Series was entered into a giant fighting tournament using them at the peak of their strength, who would be victorious? The rules for the series are on screen now, with a link for a further breakdown in the description below. With all that in place, let's take a look at today's match between the Ice Climbers and the Duck Hunt Trio to see who will advance on to the next round and who will be disqualified. Let's get into it.
Ice Climbers!
The year was 1984, and a certain programmer working at Nintendo by the name of Kazuaki Morita would go on to create the most terrifying pair of mountain climbing children ever conceived in the aptly titled name Ice Climber. It's likely that most people only know the Ice Climbers from their appearance in Super Smash Bros., but their original game predates many household Nintendo names, and it's been around for likely double the time of most people watching this video. The game itself is pretty simple. A brave mountain climber named Popo and his childhood friend, or girlfriend? Sister? It's unclear. Named Nana, go climb an alarmingly icy mountain. The goal of the game is to make it up the mountain, collecting vegetables and fighting off wildlife, before flying away on a giant condor that looks much more like a pterodactyl than a bird. While the game is almost unbearably frustrating sometimes, these two ice climbers are lighthearted and they look like they genuinely enjoy their hobby. It just so happens that hobby also includes clubbing seals, smashing solid ice, and chasing sentient vegetables. Yes, you heard that right. These tiny people with their little tiny hammers specialize in mountainside destruction, and they're pretty darn good at it. Ice is pretty difficult to break. When I was younger, I went through this phase of trying to break a bunch of different things on my forehead, from pencils to pens to paintbrushes. But the one thing that truly injured me and declared itself the winner was when I tried to break a solid ice pack on my forehead. So let me tell you from firsthand experience why breaking ice is so impressive. To put it all into perspective, just one of these tiny little jumps that they do to get to the ice easily exceeds all of the power that an average person expends in a single day. I asked our lead researcher, Real Lemon, for a comparison of what being hit by one of these ice mallets would feel like, and he said it would
the emotional strength to survive their control system.
Feel like you had 400 pizzas laid on top of you at once. So do with that what you will. Contrary to how they're portrayed in Smash, the Ice Climbers don't actually have any ice-based powers. Nana and Popo do all of this ice smashing with their signature mallets. These massive wooden mallets are specifically chosen to bust up mountainsides and fight off yetis. But their power goes beyond just shattering ice blocks. Nana and Popo can easily jump over 3 times their own height, run 15 miles per hour, and club down wildlife on the mountainside. And while the creatures that they club certainly aren't dying, you need some serious strength and ironclad cojones to drive off a hungry 1,000-pound polar bear. Just imagine being camped out on a mountain, trying to stave off the sheer cold and get a fire started, when you spot 2 kids with giant mallets breaking through layers of ice and stone like it's nothing. Then they club down a yeti, fight off a polar bear, jump 15 feet into the air, and grab onto a dinosaur-looking thing before flying off into the distance.
Okay, I'm really liking this PNG editing. It's it's very, very fun.
That kind of thing stays with a person. But the climber's survival on these mountains is also worth noting. They can withstand falling from 4 stories high and can endure the bitter cold and low oxygen that comes in the territory of mountain climbing while still being able to perform at peak level. No pun intended.
You gotta keep
but this is where the extent of their durability starts and ends. The ice climbers are something of a glass cannon, being able to deal serious damage to things much stronger than a normal human ever could. But they also die after being poked a single time by any of these enemies. But with all that said, let's see how they stack up against their opponents for the day. Duck Hunt.
Duck Hunt.
A year before the release of the Ice Climbers and hot off the trail of the video game crash of 1983, Nintendo was actively trying to get their foot in the door of console gaming. They were hot off the back of releasing their Game & Watch system, and they were looking for the next big thing. Then they had the most Nintendo idea of all time. Find a niche gimmick that no one was asking for and use it to sell a game. This time, really hitting that red, white, and blue American audience with everybody's favorite pastime.
I love that. I love that short. It's a good one.
Guns and hunting. And thus, Duck Hunt was born. Ooh. What a weird concept to package in with the same system that has Super Mario Bros. This game eventually grew to be a massive success, with over 28 million people owning a copy. Like Ice Climber, the gameplay here is also simple. Point your gun, shoot a duck, and get annoyed by the unkillable dog that would pop up on screen. This dog and duck are iconic parts of the game, and are instantly recognizable to millions across the globe. But what might not be immediately obvious to casual fans is that Duck Hunt isn't actually a duo comprised of the duck and dog, but there's a third person as well, a wild gunman sitting just beyond the view of the screen. While ducks specialize in flying around and the dog specializes in catching down ducks, the hunter is a small game specialist capable of shooting fast and small targets from a distance, and he's said to be the most dangerous criminal in the Wild West. The gunman in Smash is implied to be an extra-dimensional player sitting beyond the TV screen, but in Duck Hunt itself, it's much more strongly implied to be an actual gunman, given that they interact with the dog, rather than a fourth-dimensional entity beyond screen.
Okay,
now, while these three have much more experience gunning down wildlife than they do in combat, it would be a mistake to discount any member of this trio. The first thing that may surprise you is just how fast they are. While we can't assume much more than an average fighting speed for the gunman, his bullets are a different story. In this clay pigeon shooting minigame, we can use some basic trigonometry to measure the distance that the gunman is shooting out and find the speed of his rifle, shooting at nearly 12 times that of a sniper round. This is putting his bullets at nearly 24 times the speed of sound. Aside from the gunman though, basset hounds can run up to 10 miles per hour and are much more nimble in close quarters than humans are. But a true dark horse of the speed category is the duck, who can fly at around 50 miles per hour. The synergy of these speeds allow for some really creative maneuvering around their opponents. They also pack some surprising strength behind the team. The dog is capable of leaping high into the air, but that's nothing compared to the heat that the gunman is packing. He carries a revolver and a rifle. These are both capable of downing ducks in a single shot and shattering clay pigeons from very, very far away. The gunman carries 3 shots in his chamber and can fire them off at rapid speeds before having to reload. The team is more than just speed and firepower though. The main durability for the team comes from the sheer tankiness of the dog and gunman. They can both survive being shot with a hunter's weapons, although it does admittedly burn the dog's face and put him in a cast with crutches, which is confusing to say the least. But it's not too bad when you calculate that these bullets are hitting the dog and gunman with an intensity equal to that of a space shuttle being launched, condensed into the size of a dilated human pupil. My research team gives me the weirdest comparisons for these scripts, I swear. So from the hunting range to the edge of the wild, wild west, the Duck Hunt trio are not to be trifled with. But with all that said and done, it is time for today's fight. But first, I've got an announcement. We finally have Smash Bracket merch. It's finally here. If you want to support the channel and look awesome while doing it, the link is in the description below. But with that out of the way, let's get into today's fight to see who will advance on to the next round of the Smash Bracket and who will be disqualified. Let's get into it.
Alright, I'm gonna go with the Duck Hunt trio. It seems like they have a bit more on their side when it comes to stats like speed and strength, and I'm not sure the Ice Climbers will be able to really get around the whole gunning stuff. Like, breaking ice is good, but I mean, you know, it's a freaking gun. So, I'm going with the Duck Hunt trio. Aw, that's cute. I'm really liking this CRT aesthetic. Yeah. So they're actually showing the gunman. I like that. scary. Uh-oh. Utilizing that ice because they don't have actual ice powers. The music's popping off though, I like it. Uh-oh. Oh, sheesh. What? Uh-oh. Ah, poor Kirby. Woo, that music. Come on. Oh boy. Hello. Ah! Oh, I'm liking this pep time. Yeah!
Game!
That's another thing I like about Smash Bracket. The endings are super unpredictable because it's not always going to be death. Sometimes we get surrenders like that. So that was really cute. I like that.
And there you go! Yeah, this just wasn't close. If the Ice Climbers were fighting a normal dog and human, they could probably club them to death after just a couple of hits. But the dog and Gunman both have survived crazy shots from the Gunman himself.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, these things are insane. They're hitting with the intensity of 9.68 gigawatts per centimeter squared. To put some context to that number, imagine you took the force behind a tank shell and compressed it down to the size of your pinky, and then shot it at Mach 24. Compare this to the Ice Climbers, who die after a single touch from basically everything in their game. It's possible that the Ice Climbers could have a small window of opportunity at the beginning of the fight, out of the opponent's sheer surprise at fighting two children, and the fact that shooting two children point blank in cold blood probably isn't going to be the preferred strategy of a non-bloodlusted small game hunter, even if they're the rootinest tootinest criminal in the wild wild west. But even with this theoretical opening, there's just not much they'd be able to do against 2/3 of this trio. The Ice Climbers were hitting with about 119 watts per centimeter squared, which is just so much less than the Dog and Hunter have endured. And this all goes without mentioning speed. While the Ice Climbers probably have a slight but negligible speed advantage over the Gunman and the Dog, the Gunman and Dog are also used to tracking and shooting things much faster than the Ice Climbers. And all this without calculating the fact that the Ice Climbers are at a number disadvantage here, which is a huge difference maker in any fight. So when all is said and done, the Duck Hunt trio is the winner, and they will be moving on to the next round of the Smash Bracket. Next time on the Smash Bracket.
All right. Joker versus Snake. Oh, that's going to be a fun one, I can tell. Because I'm part of the notification squad, and I got to see the little preview of it, and oh boy, that was a fun one. Oh, and we're getting Archie Sonic versus Paper Mario. Nice. I might just have to do a reaction to that as well. But yeah, oh man, this was a lot of fun. Very glad I did a reaction for this one. The editing has definitely taken a super big, like you can tell that they're improving a lot when it comes to that. The PNG editing is so damn charming. And I like the story that this one told. I find it interesting how they presented the Duck Hunt trio as this synergetic team of just a kind of normal dog and game hunter, like kind of normal. That was a very unique approach that I wasn't expecting. So I think it paid off, and it was interesting choreography, like the way they played off each other, and yeah, I like that it ended in a surrender, and the music was very fun, very jumpy. I was vibing to it. So yeah, overall, a lot of fun with this one. I'm very happy to see that my prediction was right, and I'm thinking I'll probably stick to this one if you guys so desire. Let me know in the comments. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you all liked the video as much as I did, and be sure to stay tuned for the next video. Take care.